When is a car more than a car? What makes it special for your family? We've all basically had that one car that was a member of our family anyway, right? Whether it was the first car that you passed your test in, the one that you bought when you were finally earning your own money, or the one you brought your first child home from the hospital in. Well, this Skoda Kamiq could be that car for you. Yes, is it just essentially an SUV? But could it be the SUV for you and your family? Let's find out. The updated Skoda Kamiq range now consists of two model grades. Replacing the former mid-spec style is the now entry-level but highly spec Select, with the Monte Carlo still sitting that rung above, while the previous run-out Special and the top spec Signature have been dropped. Starting from $33,990 drive away for the Select and rising to $44,990 for the Monte Carlo, the updated Kamiq is only $1,000 more than the run-out edition, which was introduced to give Skoda a cheaper offering after a period of high prices due to shortages and supply issues during the pandemic. But it's packed with more goodies than the car it replaces. Even without the run-out variant though, the Kamiq's price is sharp and makes it very competitive amongst the top sellers in the small SUV pack. While it's more expensive than a base spec Kia Seltos S, it comes in cheaper drive away than the equivalent versions of the Hyundai Kona, Mazda CX-30 and Toyota Yaris Cross. For the Select, there's the usual keyless entry, push-button start, dual-zone climate control, 17-inch wheels, LED headlights, an 8-speaker sound system, wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, and an 8-inch instrument cluster and 8.25-inch infotainment screen. There are 4 USB-C ports, 2 in the front and 2 in the back, rear air vents, 2 map pockets, 3 child seat top tether points, 2 ISOFIX anchors and space for bottles in the doors. For an extra $4,200, buyers can get the optional Signature Pack for the Select, which adds extra safety features such as travel assist and lane assist with adaptive lane guidance as well as adaptive cruise control. The pack adds a few more thrills too to help bridge the gap between the top and the bottom of the range, such as a more luxurious suede upholstery compared to the Select standard crepe cloth fabric, 18-inch wheels, rear privacy glass, an electric tailgate and a bigger 10.25-inch instrument cluster. The Monte Carlo is the all-singing, all-dancing Kamiq. It gets everything that the Select gets and then some. On top of the Select, the Monte Carlo adds a panoramic glass sunroof, 18-inch alloys, sport chassis control, glossy black highlights on the badges, mirrors, front grille and rear diffuser, tinted rear windows and a larger 9.2-inch infotainment screen with sat-nav. It also gains Skoda's 10-speaker premium sound system, a powered driver's seat, heated front seats and a heated steering wheel, as well as a black fabric carbon look cloth upholstery, with some funky GTI-esque strips running down it to remind you that this is a sporty model, just in case you've forgotten. For a family on a tight budget, there are cheaper SUVs out there. But for those who have a little bit more to spend or are after something with a touch more class than the cheap and cheerful, this is certainly a contender and has a healthy equipment list for that $34,000 drive-away starting price. The Skoda Kamiq is backed by a 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty, one of the longest in the car industry and the only European manufacturer offering 7 years of coverage as standard, with servicing required every 12 months or 15,000 kilometres. Prepaid service packs are available, but unless the customer purchases one, the Kamiq is expensive to maintain. Even with one, the 5-year/75,000 kilometre cost is higher than its key competitors. As before, the Kamiq gets a choice of 2 powertrains, a 1-litre 3-cylinder turbo petrol engine or a 1.5-litre 4-cylinder petrol engine. Both are mated to a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission and drive the front wheels. Offering 85 kilowatts in the 1-litre or 110 kilowatts in the 1.5, the new Kamiq isn't the most powerful small SUV you can get, but it's no slouch either. The Seltos and Kona both use punchier 4-cylinder engines, either a 2-litre petrol or a 1.6-litre turbo petrol, making 110 kilowatts and 180 newton meters, or 146 kilowatts and 265 newton meters respectively, but mated to a CVT for the former or 8-speed auto for the latter. Meanwhile, the now hybrid-only Yaris Cross uses a 3-cylinder 1.5 hybrid engine and CVT to offer a slightly higher 96 kilowatts and 185 newton meters. All three can be had in all-wheel drive as well as front-wheel drive, which the Kamiq cannot. One slight disappointment is that the Kamiq doesn't get any form of electrification with the facelift, unlike some of the key players in this space, such as the Hyundai Kona and the Toyota Yaris Cross, which get either hybrid or fully electric options. Officially, in select form, the Kamiq sips just 5.5 litres for every 100 kilometres that it travels on the WLTP combined cycle, and in Monte Carlo form, that only rises to 5.6 litres per 100 kilometres. I only had the car for a short period of time at launch, but I found on average it used 7 litres per 100 kilometres when tested through a mix of local roads, highway and freeway driving, and some twisty bends through the Dandenong Ranges thrown in for good measure. This very mix of roads in such a short space of time, coupled with testing out the different driving modes, of which there are 4, eco, normal, sport and individual, skewed my consumption figures, and real-world or longer-term driving would likely achieve a much better fuel use figure. One big selling point in these challenging times with the cost of living being so high is that the Kamiq's fuel economy is considerably better than all of its main competitors, bar the hybrid Yaris Cross, which uses 3.8 litres per 100 kilometres. The Seltos and Kona are the highest at 6.6 and 6.9, or 6.6 to 7.6, while the CX-30 sips 6.3 combined. At the front, you've got a slightly larger grille, a new front bumper, daytime running lights, LEDs, and in the Monte Carlo you get matrix LEDs. Then along the side, you've got new alloy wheels, new paint colours, and here at the back, you've also got a new rear bumper and Skoda lettering across the tailgate. The Monte Carlo also gains a few extra thrills, such as a gloss black grille, mirror caps, side skirts, roof rails, badges, and a rear diffuser. Basically, you name it and it can be black, except the unique wheels, which can also be silver. Skoda's thrown in some Monte Carlo badges too, just so there's absolutely no doubt that this is the fancy version. At the rear, the updated Kamiq gets new spaced out Skoda lettering, which seems to be the fashion now. Is the design of the Kamiq ever going to appeal to the SUV haters? No, but everything about the exterior's aesthetic looks sharp, refined and considered. No small SUV is ever going to offer you a cavernous amount of space that you might get in a medium SUV or even in a large SUV. But there's a lot that you can do with what's on offer here, thanks to Skoda's clever use of space. The boot cavity is large enough to accommodate a sizable but not segment-leading 400 litres, which is enough for a full-size pram, 2 kids' backpacks, your backpack, and 4 full-to-the-brim bags full of groceries if you remove the parcel shelf. Fold the seats down 60-40 and that storage space swells to 1395 litres, which would allow for a decent tip run or an airport run if needed. It fares okay in this regard amongst its rivals, bested by the Seltos, offering the most at 468 litres, but comes close to the Kona, which has 407 litres or 1241, and leaves the CX-30 lagging well behind at 317 litres. While the Yaris Cross offers a bigger 460 litre boot, it's less useful when the seats are folded, only giving 1097 litres. And crucially for busy parents with their hands full, if you get either the Select with the Signature Pack or the Monte Carlo, it has a powered tailgate. Moving to the inside of the Kamiq, and the two model grades offer very different propositions. While the Select is undeniably more tame, its pared-back simplicity is actually the more attractive option in my view. In the Select, the seats are wrapped in a black and grey crepe recycled cloth material, with crepe also used for decorative pads on the dash, with black fabric on the doors paired with a grey roof lining. The Signature Pack offers a meet-in-the-middle option of a black/grey suedia cloth upholstery, with the suedia also appearing on the dash. The Monte Carlo, however, offers a completely different look altogether, creating a much more aggressive, masculine vibe in comparison, thanks to its use of black on black on black, with carbon look materials on the seats, dash and doors. The headlining is also black, surprise surprise, with only the red ambient lighting and the striped pattern on the seats offering any contrast, making the top spec variant appear very dark inside despite its massive panoramic glass sunroof. In both guises, storage options are ample, with door pockets that can just about squeeze a large, but not humongous, sized drinks bottle, 2 cup holders, a tray with space for a wireless charger and your keys, and an underarm cubby. The Kamiq's cabin also feels solid and completely rattle-free. Though the plastic in the Select grade is a little harsh, it doesn't look overly cheap. The infotainment screen is a win in either spec though. The display feels large enough without being overwhelming or obscuring forward visibility, and the menu itself is intuitive, simply laid out and easy to understand. Only the Monte Carlo has inbuilt satellite navigation, but I didn't miss it in the Select, even in my short time with the Kamiq, because there was of course the option of Apple CarPlay or Android Auto to fall back on, both which now happen to be wireless even in the entry grade. Of the two powertrains, the 1 litre 85 kilowatt in the Select or the 1.5 litre 110 in the Monte Carlo, the 1.5 litre is definitely the better performer. And it's kind of a shame that both powertrains are not offered across both of the model grades. Yes, the 1.5 uses a tiny bit more fuel, but it's also quieter, smoother off the line, and just feels that little bit more urgent. In the Select, under hard acceleration off the line, you are left waiting around longer than you'd like, which is reduced in the 1.5 thanks to the power and torque bump that it gets. The 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission is a solid performer and works well with no obvious hesitancy, as it did before, and is particularly good when paired with the 1.5 litre. At low speeds, neither the Select nor the Monte Carlo suffers from intrusive wind or tyre noise, but kick the speed up to over 80 km an hour and the ding gets a little loud. Nothing racking up the sound system won't fix, but it penetrates the cabin nonetheless. The 1 litre can be a bit noisy under hard acceleration though. The steering also strikes a fine balance. It's light enough that it's direct and agile, but heavy enough that it provides enough feedback and sensation in corners. It handles corners really well, making twisty roads a lot of fun without the need to really put your foot down that much. There's no obvious dead spot either, and the grip of the leather steering wheel is excellent. The suspension is also reasonable, soaking up bumps and road imperfections well, only feeling a little firm over the harshest surfaces. The drive modes on offer also change things up a little, but honestly there's not that much difference between them. Eco mode is the smoothest, dulling throttle response, while Sport mode dials things up a notch, quickening inputs but only sharpening a little. Normal mode is the middle ground between both and the one I spent most of my time in, offering a nice comfortable balance. There's also individual mode, which you can tailor to your tastes, but the Kamiq doesn't really need any of these options. Coming in hot with a low 30s price tag could see the Skoda cannibalise some sales from its mainstream Korean rivals, and even in its Select form it has enough features that it could be a tantalising proposition and ruffle some feathers. It has all the great features of a family hauler. Low fuel economy, a decent boot for its class, it drives well and it looks good. With the Kamiq, Skoda is targeting young singles or families with a dog or 1 or 2 children who are looking for a city SUV to run around town in during the week or take out to the country to stretch its legs on a weekend. Yes, it's an SUV, but it drives like a lot of the hatches that we had in our youth. It's a family car that's fun to drive. If you've enjoyed this video, head over to Drive.com.au and read the full review.